Hello, welcome to Q&A Thursday. Fantastic to have you here. Thanks for joining me. Now, we did do this live. You'll notice that this is a pre-recorded one. We did do this live. We had some great interaction from some great Toolkit masters that were online. Then we went to go and do the replay, and there was a technical issue and it all tweaked out. So that's why we're recording it again. So apologies for that, but you will find the replay in your unlocking portal that you can watch. It's exactly the same webinar, just doesn't have the interaction that we had on the live one. So apologies up front. It's never happened before. Hopefully it won't ever happen again, and we've fixed that issue. But anyway, welcome. Great to have you here. For those that are new to this, and we've got an influx of new Toolkit masters that have come and joined us in 2018, so that's fantastic. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So for those that are new, this is our Q&A Thursday that we have, a webinar that we have every Thursday. And it's specifically for you guys to ask me any questions that you might have. And it's usually questions that you don't feel overly comfortable asking your manager. We've had questions like, what do you do if you don't like your manager? What do you do if you don't get on with some people in your team? You know, all these sorts of things that you might not be comfortable asking your manager or your mentor about. You can come and ask me. No questions asked. So there's two ways you can do that. You can either come onto the live webinar with me like now, if this was live, and in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little chat bar that you can just type in your question there and we will answer it there and then. The second way you can ask is you can upload your question on ask@teamleadertoolkit.com, the email, and we will respond to you within 24 to 48 hours. So every email that comes through, my team and I get together, we put in the solutions, we put any downloadable tools in there that you might need, any sort of stories that we can share with you that are relevant, and then we send that out back to you between 24 to 48 hours after you've sent us the email. So you will get all the solutions that you need on that particular burning platform that's really annoying you. And then what we might do is we might ask you, hey, can we share that on one of our webinars? Because if you've got the question, you can bet your bottom dollar that there'll be lots of other Toolkit masters that will have a similar question to yours. So, and that's entirely up to you. I've had people say, yes, you can share my question, but don't use my name, or no, I don't want you to share my question because it's relevant to another team member who is actually on the program. I don't want them to recognize me or whatever. And that's fine, totally understandable. But if you don't have any issues with it, then we'll share it, and then everybody gets to listen to the solutions, and maybe that will help them as well. Okay, so what else do we do? So if a question hasn't come through, or you don't have any questions, you just want to, join us for the day, which is not for the day, it's probably half an hour, 45 minutes, can be up to 2 hours if we need it. But we share a really interesting topic for the week. So anything that's relevant, an article or topic or something, I share with you. I also use this opportunity to let you know what's coming down the line. So we might be having some new tools, some new resources, another expert secrets webinar, interview coming up, anything like that that's coming down the line that you need to know about, you'll hear right now. So so it's really, really important that you come to these, because there's lots of information that we share with you. So without further ado, let's start, because I've got a good one today, and I think it's really, really important, being the beginning of the year, that we set off on the right foot with regards to what disciplines we're going to put in place with regards to, leading our teams. So without further ado, I'm going to share my PowerPoint with you. So stand by, and I'm just going to check my other screen. And here I am here. So here I am here. So I haven't left you. I am still here. So live coaching. All right. So what's this question that we're going to cover today? And I've got my notes with me. Oh, let's get back onto there. All right, did that not work? Okay, preview, here we are. Seamless, it was seamless. Okay, so bear with us for 2 seconds. I'm going to see if I can bring that back up. All right, so we've had a glitch. For some reason, it fell out. I will get it back up for you. If anybody has got, please talk amongst yourselves. We will get this up for you in an instant. All right. And I will get back to you while it's loading, and we will have a bit of a chat about some things that I think are really important. 25th of January. There it is. There it is. Okay, there it is. It's uploading as we speak. All right. So the important thing is that we're going to talk about today is one-on-ones. And it's really, really important that we don't leave everything that we've got to chat to our team members about to performance review. When you get to performance review, there should be no surprises. That shouldn't be the first time that people realise that there is an issue with either their behaviour or results. So honestly, I'm just going to write. It's not letting me get into there, and this is a title. So so it's really, really important that we have those one-on-ones going through the year, because otherwise, if we don't, then it's really hard for us to make sure that we can build our team to be a high-performing team. All right. So what we've got here is we've got a question that came through from Kristen late last year, and it was all about how do I make the most out of my one-on-ones and what should I include in those discussions, which is a really great question to have, I think, Kristen, and it's something that I think we should. Somebody left their phone in the webinar room. Anyway, it's all sorted now. And you know what? It's not mine. Technical issues. Okay, so Kristen, great question. How should we make the most of our one-on-ones, and what should we include in those discussions? So my theory is that, you know, a minimum, and it all depends on the size of your team and how many people you've got on your team, but a minimum of 6 one-on-ones completed each year. If you've got a huge team, maybe that will only be 4 per person, but they're a great opportunity for individuals to track their goals, to track their, you know, KPIs, to develop further stretch targets, and, you know, also to coach on behaviours. It gives you that opportunity to coach them on behaviours. So, and it's really, really important about the commitment that you make in those one-on-ones as well, the time commitment that you make. Now, I've had a few stories where there has been an instance where one-on-ones weren't prioritised. And what I mean that is I mean that you might have them in your calendar and then your manager will keep changing them because something else props up, a meeting props up, or they have to go away, or something happens, and all of a sudden you're getting jiggled from one week to the next and you don't know when your one-on-one is. And what that does is it deprioritises you as a person. So it makes you feel like maybe I'm not a high priority, maybe it's not important for them to have a chat to me. We don't want this to happen for our team members, okay? So we want to make sure that we have one-on-ones with our team members and we prioritise them accordingly. It's really, really important, because the message you give off if you keep changing them around and moving them and cancelling them is that your people are not important enough. And we do not want that language to be passed on to our teams, okay? So, right, so what should we do? Okay. So depending on the size of your team, you want to try and get between 4 and 6 one-on-ones per year if you can. That's not including your performance review that you have at the end of your financial year, because you don't want any surprises. No surprises come performance appraisal time. You don't want to be, that's the first time that people are realising that there is behavioural issues or results issues, or, you know, or even in the flip side, that they've been excelling all year and nobody's told them about it. Okay, and it's also an opportunity for two-way feedback. So not only are you giving feedback to the team member, but the team member has the opportunity then to give you feedback. And feedback is a gift. It allows us to grow. All right, so what should we cover in those? Okay, so there's a number of things. Obviously, we can cover review of progress against any target. So you might have targets with regards to tasks or projects, or, you know, anything like that, and you would have targets that sort of break those down Let's review the progress against those. That's something that you can go over with your team member. And that's really for your team member to come in and show you that, right? So this is what I've done. This is project X that I've been working on for the last 6 weeks. This is the progress that we've made. This is the issues that we've had with it, but we've been able to get over them, you know, all those sorts of things. So progress against current targets and acknowledgement of accomplishments or areas of improvement. So this is a really great opportunity to go, you know what, Jack, that project XYZ that you worked on with another couple of members, that's worked really, really well. It's put in some great new innovations for the you know, piece of kit on the floor that's now working and not got any downtime. And congratulations, it was a great project. So you're giving that person the accolades they deserve, the acknowledgement of the accomplishment of that particular project. On the flip side, if there's areas of improvement, so John, with Project XYZ that you did last week, you know, these were the good bits that worked really well. You had great time management. The delegation of the tasks went really well. There were some areas that we thought that there's opportunity, and that is you getting your team together more often, being able to have a meeting agenda so people didn't feel like it was a waste of time them getting together, and ultimately the deadline slipped, so more communication around that. So you've been really specific around what improvements you need to give that person or what support that they will need going forward to try and make those improvements happen. So that's another thing that you can put in your one-on-ones. Another one, feedback on behaviours. So not only are you talking about the results that they're doing, but also how they got there. So somebody might be accomplishing fantastic results, but if they're dragging people with them, kicking and screaming along the way, then their behaviours need some tweaking. Yeah. So we need to make sure that we give people feedback on their behaviours. So it could be something like, John, you know, when you mentored Sally without anybody asking you to do that, you could see she was struggling. You mentored her through that task. You put up, you know, your own time and efforts, and congratulations, mate, because she has been successful with that. And that was really because you mentored her through that. So well done. Or consequently, Jack, when you are in the team meetings and, you know, sometimes when you're frustrated or I feel that there's a bit of resentment or aggression, you come out with some negative comments and it does have a negative impact on the rest of the team. We might need to look at, number one, if you've got anything that's heated to say, take the emotion out of it. If you can't, leave it silent, come and see me afterwards. Do something like that, because at the moment you're being perceived as somebody who can be quite negative, and I don't think that that's the case. I think it's just the perception in the team meeting. So that's something that I'd like to work on with you to find a solution and give you the support you need. You know, so there's areas of improvement. So making sure that the behaviours is just as much of a focus as the results that they're getting, because it's just as important, believe you me. All right, what's another thing you put in there? What about upcoming priorities? What if there's things coming down the pipeline? Now, this is a perfect way for you to nip any issues in the bud early. So if you've got a change or a priority coming down the pipeline that you know is going to impact this particular person, now's the best time to get it out in the open and say, hey, guess what? There's a new procedure that's coming down. It's coming down from headquarters. They've already done it at the other sites. We're going to be doing it as of next month, and it's A, B, and C. The impact that it's going to have is, you know, this on your particular working area. Give us some insights. What are your initial thoughts? So what you're doing there is you're actually being a change manager, because you are giving enough information so somebody can have a reflection, can think about what's coming down the line. They can offer up insights. They can share with, you know, before things come on site, they can share how they think it's going to work best, or who needs to be communicated what, you know, all those sorts of things. So discussion of upcoming priorities, really, really important as part of a change management type scenario that you'll be doing as a leader. Okay, discussions around roadblocks and coaching them how to deal with this. So this is a really good one, and this should come from your team members first, saying, hey, I'm working on this project XYZ. We've got to week 5. We've got this huge roadblock because this, and this is happening. I don't know how to deal with it. Fantastic. What a great conversation to have. My first question to that person would be, so what have you done thus far? Because you need to coach them on how to deal with it, not the answers on what to do. What have you done so far? What worked and hasn't worked? Who have you gone to speak to? Who have you seen? What would you do in this circumstance? So it's all about coaching them around what they would do, what's happened in the past, all those sorts of things. And I think that's really good coaching on your behalf to be able to get that conversation going. Okay, what's something else? Support needed. So this is a really good one, especially if there's some roadblocks. So what support do you need? So I can see you've got that roadblock. You've tried step 1, 2, and 3. That didn't work. You've gone to see such and such, and that didn't work. So what support do you need from me to try and get this roadblock out the way? And they might say, oh, can you go to management and tell them that we need extra funds or another resource or whatever it may be? And maybe that's the support they need from you. So what support do they need for those particular things? Okay, another one, feedback on the leader. So this is your chance to turn around and go, so tell me, what am I doing well and what do I need to do differently? You could just ask those 2 simple questions. What am I doing really well for you? And what do you need me to do differently? Because that feedback is going to be instrumental of you being the best leader that you can possibly be. And it's not going to be too hard, okay? Tell your people that you don't specifically want them to be nice, you want them to be honest. So nice stands for not interested not interested to care enough. And I don't want people to be nice. I want people to be honest, because the way that people are honest, then you can grow and you can become the best version of yourself. If people are just nice, then you won't move forward. Okay, so get feedback for yourself. Ask them 2 questions. What am I doing well for you? What do I need to do differently? And that might be, oh, I only get to see you once a fortnight. I'd really like to see you more often than that. Okay, bingo, there's some insight for you. Or it could be, between 8 and 10, you seem a little bit unapproachable because you come into the office and you close your door and people are scared to, come and see you before then. Wow. Were you aware of that? Maybe not. So these insights are going to be absolutely gold for you to change what you need to change to be the best version of yourself with regards to being a leader. So make sure you get that feedback. It's going to be fantastic. All right, what else have we got? Questions raised and resolved. So in the past, whether it may be a previous one-on-one or it could be a conversation that you've had earlier, a question might have been raised by you or the person that you're having a one-on-one with, and then it got resolved. So then it's almost that follow-up. So, okay, so last Tuesday we were talking about the piece of kit, the shrink wrapper or the packer on the floor, and we had this issue with it. Now we called the maintenance team in, they fixed it. How's that going? Have we had that same issue reoccur? So you're actually going back over stuff that's already been resolved, just to make sure that it's not rearing its ugly head again. All right, so future development for the individual, whether in their current role or in future roles. So this is really important for your team member because they might have a particular career stream that they're looking at. So they might currently be in the supply chain world, and you know what? They've got a really burning, deep desire to be a salesman. So they want to go and have a look at what the salespeople are doing. You won't know that unless you ask. So Joe, you're currently in our supply chain. You've been on our forklifts, for the last 6 years, you do a great job. Are you happy where you are, or have you got any burning desires to try something else? And they might say, you know what? Yeah, I met up with a couple of sales guys down the pub the other night, and they were telling me about their role. And hey, look, it looks really good. I wouldn't mind having a bit of a crack. And then you could say, okay, well, obviously, if that's something that we want to do, we'd have to go through a recruitment process. However, before you do that, why don't I make sure that that's really where you want to go, and make sure that you get a day in the life of one of your sales guys and you can shadow them around for a day. Maybe that's something that you can do, allow them to think about their future development. Maybe it might be courses that they want to take. Maybe it's it could be a multitude, a plethora of things that you can do to try and support your team into making sure they're continuously driving themselves into something that they want to do. Then you're going to have the team members that go, you know what? I'm happy right here. I came in, I punched my card, I do my job, best of my ability, I get out of here. I don't want to go anywhere else. That's fine. That's fine too. So, So make sure you ask those questions about future development, and it might be in their current role, it might be in a different role. So there's some other tips here that I want to share with you as well. So, you know, you're going to seek feedback from the individual about their own examples of results and behaviours. So then you're going to ask them, oh, so, you know, I know you've been working on project XYZ. Tell me, how's that going? And they might say, oh, the deadline slipped because I'm having some real trouble with a couple of the team members that are on it. You know, they're just not engaged. I'm not sure how to get them engaged. I need your support. All of a sudden, you're getting all these insights that you weren't aware of because you've asked the question. So make sure you ask them, you know, what's going on with things and get their thoughts. A lot of times, if you need to offer advice or mentor or coach, the best way to do it is use your own examples or stories to illustrate particular points, because it just makes it so much more relevant to the person. So, for example, I remember stories are so powerful. There was a CEO in a company that were really the company was really struggling because their workers were all the admin tasks, you know, consolidating credit cards and reconciling invoices and all those, you know, admin-y sort of take a lot of time up. People put it on the bottom of the pile. Priorities were not getting done, right? So, and that was causing a lot of issues and stops in the pipeline and on all that sort of stuff for that particular company. So the CEO called a big meeting with everybody, and he got up there and he told a story. And he told a story about Brussels sprouts. And he said, I was with dinner with my family yesterday, and I have two beautiful girls, two young beautiful girls. My wife had cooked up this beautiful roast dinner with all the trimmings, Yorkshire pud, all the whole lot. And she'd also cooked up this delicious apple pie that was baking in the oven while we were sitting at our table eating our dinner. And the girls were lapping up their dinner, but they were leaving their Brussels sprouts. And I said to my girls, do you know what? If you want to get to the apple pie, the good stuff, you need to eat your Brussels sprouts. Your Brussels sprouts, they'll give you energy, they're nutritional, they're exactly what you need to be balanced, so then you can move on to the good stuff. So as much as you might not like it, and you may never like it, you need to eat them just so that we can move on and do other things. And then he said, and this is what I'm telling you this story because all those admin tasks that we keep putting away, that we keep hiding under other bits and pieces, that we keep avoiding, is stopping us from getting onto the good parts. So think of it as your Brussels sprouts. Nobody likes to do it. Nobody likes to eat them, but we just need to get it done so that we can move on to the apple pie. So what he did is he simulated his dinner with his family with what's happening in the workplace. And then you know what happened from then on? Every time that people said, hey, you're coming out for having an early lunch, we're going to go down there, they'd say, no, I'm doing my Brussels sprouts. I'll get down there in about half an hour. And they started calling those little admin tasks that nobody likes Brussels sprouts. So it's amazing how much impact and power it can have if you can create stories and then simulate them, you know, to a work sort of place scenario. So use your own examples. They're great if your own stories, but if they're not, you can use other people's stories to just do a heads up to say, this is not my story, this is a neighbour down the road, but I want to share it with you so at least people know that it's not your story. Okay, so plan your time so you don't just talk about tasks. So it's really important to make sure you put enough time aside because sometimes you don't know where this conversation leads. You know, you're going to have lots of questions. It's going to be interactive between the two of you, and suddenly you go off on a bit of a tangent, but that tangent might be so valuable, might have such great things in there that you don't want to take it away. So make sure that you've got your time there to be able to let that happen and you're not going to be looking at your watch and all those sorts of things. Now, remember, your individual needs to prepare for the discussion, not just you. So they need to come to you with their results and behaviours, with any insights they have on their career and where they want it to go, with some feedback from you. So make sure, if you want to, is in your, when you set your regular agenda in your calendar or wherever you want to do it, have a little agenda in there. So when you set your meeting and say, hey, John, we're going to have one-on-one every 6 weeks, this is a rough agenda, they know that that's what they're going to be talking about. And then set the expectation. And John, by the way, I'll be looking forward to seeing your results. I'll be looking forward to hearing about where you want to go with your career. And I'll also be looking forward to any feedback that you have on me. So they're already got a heads up. They know they've got to come prepared, right? Use your coaching skills. So in the tool suite, down the bottom of the portal, you will see the 50 miracle questions that you can ask. So make sure you use those coaching questions because they're there specifically to elicit information and elicit discussion, especially great for coaching. So have a look at that, download it, take about 4 to 6 of those questions that you really love, that you think really resonates and that you can use for, multiple scenarios, stick them in your head, and then they're ready to fire out whenever you need to. Fantastic tool. Make sure you use it. And make sure leaders or individuals can schedule your one-on-ones. And that's up to you to do. Sometimes I find that the teams, it would be best if they put it in their calendars, if they have access to calendars. And you can say, okay, Joe, I'd like us to catch up every 6 to 8 weeks. So if you want to put a recurring meeting for 45 minutes to 60 minutes in my calendar, my preferred day is on either a Tuesday or Thursday afternoon, whichever suits you out of those two. So stick a recurring one in there, and I'll send you out the agenda that you can put in there as well. So they can do it. Then they've got a bit of skin in the game to turn up, and also then you can say, and yeah, if you could, we'll go to the local conference room, or we'll go down and have a coffee, and it doesn't have to be in an office. So remember, you don't have to be the one driving this all the time. It can be your team members if you think that they have access to calendars and computers and stuff to be able to do that. So some really good stuff there. Now, I did Google a load of templates that you can use on one-on-one, and I have hesitated to put any templates in the tool suite because everybody is individual and everybody uses individual things. What I might do is I might have a look around, see what I can find, tweak a couple of what I think it'll be a fantastic generic template, and upload that onto the tool suite in the next few weeks. So keep your eye out for that. But as I say, I just Googled one-on-one templates and hundreds of different ones came up. So you don't have to start this from scratch if you don't have something currently in your workplace. But we are working on something that's fairly generic, that you can add or take away bits and pieces from it and use it if you need to. So watch out for that in the next couple of weeks. All right. Is there any questions or answers that you would like to ask me right now? Now, I know we had some question and answers when we were live. I'm just trying to think what they were. Yeah, I think that was more around, this should be shared amongst peers and managers as well, because one-on-ones are prioritised differently for different people. So it's really nice to reiterate how important one-on-ones are and the message that it sends if we keep changing them around and moving them around. So maybe this is a replay that you can send to your managers and peers and go, hey, remember, we need to do this because it's a priority. And it actually helps us be able to nip things in the bud early if things are happening with our team members. We get to learn so much information through those one-on-ones that it's absolutely instrumental for you as a leader to know exactly what's going on with your team. So without further ado, I'm just going to stop this slide presentation. There we are, we're back. Okay, so I hope you got something out of that. Obviously, one-on-ones are dear to my heart. I've gone through iterations after iterations of templates and coaching people on how to do it. So often they become just a box-ticking exercise, which is not, absolutely not a box-ticking exercise. So if you see yourself going down that road, or you feel that's going down the road, change it up. Do whatever you need to do to get away from just being tick in the box, because that's not even worth your time or the team members' time. It's a waste of time. So make sure that it's relevant, it's powerful, you get the information you need out of it, your people take it seriously, and it's their opportunity to give you feedback. And, maybe if they've got some things that they need support with, that's their opportunity to be able to put their hand up and do that. And it also, These could be all kept online and you can keep notes and all that sort of stuff. And then come performance appraisal time, it's a cut and paste jobby. Makes your life so much easier. Okay, so believe you me, it makes it so much easier. So I hope that helped. I hope you got something out of that. I would love to hear any stories that you might have with regards to any one-on-ones that you had that worked really well, and maybe some disasters that I'd love to hear about. Get onto the secret Facebook page and let's share those. Only Toolkit Masters are allowed on there, so there's no outsiders on there. So you feel free to talk about whatever you like, and you'll only have leaders on there with you. And also remember, if you want to contact us, ask@teamleadertoolkit.com, email us, and we would love to hear from you. All right. So without further ado, I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Until then, it's bye for now. Cheers. Bye.